But a wise man said to me many years ago, he said, Brad, be careful how you spend your money, but be more careful how you spend your time. Because your time is the limited resource, and where you invest and how you invest your time determines where success comes from. So thank you for investing your time here this evening. I guess that then takes me on to the third thing, a little bit more of my background. I started out in life as an accountant. Any other accountants in the room? Thanks for admitting to it in public. You know, it's not something you often want to do. You know, as an accountant though, what's the problem with being an accountant? You learn to count other people's money. You don't learn to count your own money. I've been in business myself basically all my life. My first ever business was newspapers. Anyone have a newspaper run when you're a kid, sell the paper or deliver the newspaper? A bunch of us did, that's good to see. See, that was my first business. It was in Adelaide in South Australia. I actually had 7 paper routes. I employed 7 of my friends. They delivered the newspaper. I managed the business. You know, which means I took a cut for their work, basically. And I thought as a teenager that was a pretty neat business to be in, doing that sort of thing. Since then I've gone on now, I've owned and operated 62 different companies. In the last, about 7 weeks now, I've bought major shares in 6 different companies, and we're about to start one more company in the next 2 weeks. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. If I list off the types of businesses I've owned dog food business, I've owned clothing companies, men's and ladies fashion. I've owned magazine publishing, motorhomes and RVs, pizza manufacturing, pretty much you name the type of business, real estate, insurance, I've been in both of those. You know, all sorts of different companies, hairdressing, beauty salons. I just invested in a shampoo and conditioning company, so making all hair products and all that sort of stuff. I just bought a major share of a company in London that does home delivered alcohol. Now you think, how cool is that? It's like the Uber of alcohol. You go on the app, you order your drinks, and you can watch the car. Or in London we use mopeds, okay, because you got to get through the traffic. But and then they deliver it to your house. What else? Oh, in Australia I just bought a major share in a company that imports cars. So in Japan, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Japan a car can only be on the road for 5 years and then you have to scrap it or sell it. Well, so we buy them in Japan, we import them into Australia because Australia's just had major legal changes, and Ford and GM and Toyota stopped manufacturing there, so now we've got a major door open, and hey presto. And that one there, our first the investment capital from the merchant bankers, they believe we'll take it to a public offering at around about 800 million, maybe late next year, early the year after. You know, and these are the sort of things, and if you look at the similarities in all my business, my dog food business, I forgot that, my pizza business, I had manufacturing and wholesaling pizzas, pretty much you name the type of business. But here's the similarity in all the businesses that I've been involved in. I can't do the work in any of the businesses. So you think about how long would the hairdressing business last if I was cutting the hair? Yeah, not that, you can laugh at that because no, I am hopeless at cutting hair, okay, that's a simple fact. If it was any of the businesses, I don't do the job of the business, I'm very good at the running of the business, the growing of the business, but not the actual job of the business. The only company I own that I actually do the job in is ActionCOACH. I still do these presentations, but for me that's more of a hobby, I guess, than an actual thing. I do about 20 of these gigs a year, and it's more for fun. I get to go to Portugal in 2 weeks, or actually next week I go to Portugal and speak, so that'll be a really rough trip. You know, and being Australian, I have to speak then for the next 2 weeks in England. Does anyone happen to know what's happening in England right now? The Rugby World Cup. So I might just have to speak in cities right next to where there's a rugby game on the next day. So ActionCOACH is a lot of fun. We actually, ActionCOACH now with just over 1,000 offices in 59 countries. We just opened in Vietnam, and so a lot of fun for me doing that. But I don't tell you my story to impress you. I tell you my story to impress upon you. If a kid from Brisbane, Australia can do it, then anybody can do it.